The Ward on Sports is back here for 2021. This is the first episode of the new year. Today we are talking MLB previews, specifically the AL East. Last year we had the shortened season in which the Tampa Bay Rays won 40 games and eventually went to the World Series to lose to the Los Angeles Dodgers in a great World Series. Looking back 2 seasons prior, we'll see that the Rays finished in second with the Yankees finishing in first. And for all these previews, it's good to not just look at last season, which was only a small sample size, but to look back at 2019 as well. In 2019, the standings were the Yankees, followed by the Rays, Red Sox actually finishing over 500, the Blue Jays, and then the Orioles. And then we have a big swing in 2020 with the Rays finishing on top, Yankees second, Blue Jays finishing in third, and then the Orioles and Red Sox rounding out the bottom. For this year, it's going to look a lot like 2019, where I have the Yankees finishing on top, followed by the Rays, then the Toronto Blue Jays, Boston Red Sox, and Baltimore Orioles rounding out the AL East. The Orioles really won't be anything to write home about. Not really sure where this team is going at the moment. Anthony Santander is a fun name to look out for. Trey Mancini is going to be back and healthy, looking to continue to grow on that 2019 campaign that was so successful. And King Felix, hey, maybe he's got another King season left in him. The Red Sox should be a little bit more competitive than they were last season, but pitching is still going to be the main story, or a lack of pitching, for the Red Sox. They added a few utility guys, some players that don't make you really a great team, but they are good players. Hunter Renfroe over in left field, Marwin Gonzalez, utility man, who's been traveling around the league for a little bit, played with Houston, played with the Minnesota Twins. But they also lost Jackie Bradley Jr. to free agency, and Dustin Pedroia retired. He was injury prone the last few years, dealing with a lot of injuries back and forth on and off the field, but still he's gone, losing his leadership and everything else that comes with it. There was an in-division trade between the Red Sox and the Yankees, something that you almost never see. Adam Ottavino is now a Red Sox coming from the Yankees. That is a very good trade for them as far as boosting their bullpen, but that doesn't take them from the bottom of the AL East to a playoff team. Their pitching is going to be a problem. I just don't really see them doing much this year. Chaim Bloom, good luck. Hopefully the mastery that Jack Fritz of the Phillies thinks you are, the master that you are, will be able to come up with something. You'll be able to pull your Rays skills to the Red Sox to make them a better team. But for this year, looks like a transition year. They're figuring some stuff out. They're going to be towards the bottom of the AL East. The Blue Jays had one of the most exciting off seasons, not just in the AL East, but in the entire league. They lost a ton of guys, some of the bigger names being Taijuan Walker, Chase Anderson, Travis Shaw, Jonathan Villar, among others. But they also have World Series champion on their team now, patrolling the outfield in George Springer. And they brought over Marcus Semien, who signed as a free agent after playing with the Oakland Athletics. They also brought in Kirby Yates, another strong arm to bring to their pitching staff. So they now have World Series experience and other veterans to go along with their young talent of players like Kevin Biggio and Vlad Guerrero Jr. Vlad Guerrero Jr., potential MVP candidate for some people. A lot of people are expecting him to have a breakout year. So the Toronto Blue Jays are definitely a fun team to look out for. If they were in other divisions, I might have them be a playoff team. They should get some easy wins with the Red Sox and Orioles being in their division. So they do have a chance here to sneak up on the Rays or the Yankees, who I do have both of them making the playoffs. But I think it's going to take a little bit of luck on their side, and for some injuries for the Yankees, or maybe this Rays magic that we've been seeing over the last decade is finally going to run out and they fall back down to earth. But otherwise, I don't see the Blue Jays actually making the playoffs unless everything goes right. Also, they are still dealing with COVID. They probably aren't going to play most, if any, games up in Canada unless Canada loosens its reins or the United States finally gets better with their COVID management. So them playing away from home, granted it'll be a full season potentially in Buffalo, so it's kind of like a new home, but that does do a lot for you as a player, just not having that secure place or that major league stadium being up in Canada, being up in Toronto. I feel like that is going to weigh at least a game here, a game there, and that could add up into a season in which they don't make the playoffs. But look out for the Blue Jays. They'll definitely be fun all year long. Then we have the Rays, the always interesting team that has no money but always seems to pull together a great team, at least over this last 5 to 10 years. Last year, they were the runner-ups in the World Series. And this year, you could argue that their pitching staff got better, but we'll see how this starting lineup works out for them. They did raise things. They made some interesting moves. They lost Blake Snell, a former Cy Young Award winner. They traded him away to the San Diego Padres. They also traded Jose Alvarado. And now a lot of people say don't make a trade with the Rays because they're so smart that they probably are getting rid of the guy right after he reached his peak, and now he's only going downhill. You're not going to get the same type of pitcher. But we will see. I mean, Blake Snell, super talented. Jose Alvarado has been killing it in spring training so far for the Phillies. So those are two big names that they probably don't need, the Rays, especially in the bullpen. Jose Alvarado was just one of a million pieces out there that were dominant. So they're probably still going to be fine in the bullpen. Their starting pitching staff gained Chris Archer back and Rich Hill, and they wouldn't bring them in unless they believe that they have talent. Rich Hill is just looking for a World Series. He'll be a fourth starter in the rotation. That's an excellent guy to have at number 4. Chris Archer, when he's on, can be an ace. When he's off, he can be a 4-5, lucky to be in a rotation type of guy. So now that he's with the strong organization again, he has some experience under his belt. He can go back to his strong performance. He was a good pitcher in Pittsburgh, good pitcher with the Rays, now back for his second campaign. So the pitching staff, I'm not worried about at all. The offense is really the big question mark. Big man first baseman Ji-Man Choi is going to start off with an injury. And then as you go through the lineup, yes, you get a full season of Randy Arozarena, who was amazing in the playoffs, set a home run record in the playoffs in 2020. You get a full season of him. You expect big things from him. But then are all the other guys going to be able to produce? Are they going to be able to duplicate what they did last season? You don't have a lot of big name, high profile guys in this lineup, so it does just bring up some concerns. We're looking for more Rays magic this year. I do have them winning over 90 games. I do have them winning a wild card spot, losing a few games behind the Yankees. But again, if the Rays magic just seems to fizzle and finally fall out, the Rays could be much lower and the Blue Jays have that chance to take over them. And then we have the Yankees, whose offense you have nothing to worry about. It always comes down to pitching and staying healthy. Injury gods, give the Yankees a chance, why don't you? Giancarlo Stanton is back and healthy, hitting bombs down in spring training. As long as he stays healthy, that gives a huge boost to the offense, even if it is just from the DH spot. But he could have a comeback player of the year type of stats. He's an MVP type player when he is healthy. Aaron Judge, Gio Urshela, Gleyber Torres, all throughout the lineup, just to name a few. And most importantly, they re-signed DJ LeMahieu. A lot of people thought he might be leaving, but he is coming back, able to produce MVP-type numbers, as we saw the last 2 seasons. Huge bat in their lineup. He is back for another full season with the Yankees, which is going to be a huge boost for them. Now, they did lose Mashiniro Tanaka, who decided to call it a quits for the MLB and is headed back east. But they did also sign Corey Kluber, former Cy Young winner. As long as he can find half of his Cy Young self, that's going to be a huge boost to the rotation. They also signed Justin Wilson and Darren O'Day, as well as inviting Kyle Barraclough to a minor league contract. Barraclough, you might recognize that name from the Marlins and the Nationals. He's been around. He's just a good veteran pitcher. He's not going to wow you from the bullpen, but he should be able to provide them some quality innings from the bullpen. Losing Adam Ottavino to the Red Sox is weird for sure, but one pitcher does not make or break your team. This offense is just going to be too deadly. As long as they stay healthy, they should lock away this AL East. Will they be able to finally get to championship World Series stardom, something that has eluded them for an entire decade plus? I don't know. But for now, I do have them as the top team in the American League, over 100 wins, number 1 seed in that AL playoff. So they certainly will have a good chance to try to get back to the World Series. So there you have it. Yankees, Rays, Blue Jays, Red Sox, Orioles is my prediction. You'll see my standings here. This is what I predict the win totals to be for those 5 teams. We're back, 2021. Here we go. Word on sports and word on other things. Be sure to stay updated on my channel. Talk to you guys later.